All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about two things that sound super complicated, the 401k and the Roth IRA. But we're going to do it with a really simple guide. No jargon, no charts, and definitely no stress.
And that's really the whole idea here, isn't it? Getting this stuff right isn't about being some financial genius. It's just about understanding a simple system and quietly preparing long before you ever need it.
So to make this all make sense, we're just going to think like a squirrel. And why a squirrel? Well, because a squirrel gets the most important rule of long-term survival deep in its bones. You have to get ready for winter.
And you know what? Our financial lives are exactly the same. We have this long, productive summer. Those are our earning years, when money is coming in. But that's always followed by winter, our retirement years, when the work stops, and so does the paycheck. So the whole game is just about moving resources from your summer to your winter.
Okay, this is a huge idea, and it changes everything. A 401k or a Roth IRA, they aren't the investment itself. A much better way to think about them is like a special kind of container, a storage chest for your winter nuts, that comes with a very specific set of rules to protect whatever you put inside.
So let's look at our first storage room, the 401k. This is a system that your employer gives you. Think of it like a big community storage bin that's connected directly to your job. And yeah, it's really that simple. It's just a special place to keep your savings for winter, and you can only get into it through your job. And of course, it has its own set of rules.
So let's walk through how this works. With a 401k, the money goes into your storage pile before the government takes any taxes from your paycheck, which is kind of cool because it actually makes your taxable income for today a little bit lower. Then your employer might throw some extra in there for you. We'll get to that in a sec. Over the years, that whole pile grows. The catch? Well, you've got to pay taxes on the money when you finally take it out during your winter.
And that brings us to the absolute superpower of the 401k, the employer match. It's so simple. You put some money in, and your employer literally adds more on top. Now, this isn't a gift. It's part of your salary that you only get if you participate. Not taking the match is like, it's literally turning down a raise.
Okay, so that's the employer system. But what if you want your own personal storage room? One that you control, that isn't tied to any job. Well, that's where the Roth IRA comes in.
A Roth IRA is a storage system that you set up and you control completely. You decide where to open it, you decide what goes inside, and it has a totally different rule book. It basically flips the 401k idea completely on its head.
See, with a Roth, you pay your taxes up front during your earnings summer. Then you take what's left over and you store it. That money grows and grows over time, just like in a 401k. But, and this is the magic part, when you go to take that money out in your winter, it is 100% completely tax-free.
All right, so we have two really powerful storage options with two very different tax rules. And this leads pretty much everyone to the exact same question.
Right? People spend so much time and energy debating this. Is the pre-tax 401k the winner, or is the post-tax Roth IRA the way to go? But what if I told you that trying to answer that question is actually the biggest mistake you could make?
Because it's not about which one is better in some abstract, universal way. Focusing on that just makes us freeze up and do nothing. The real choice here is actually much, much simpler.
So look, here's the entire decision in a nutshell. The only real difference is timing. When do you want to pay the taxes? Do you want to pay them later, in winter? Then you use a 401k. Do you want to get it over with and pay them now, in summer? Then you use a Roth IRA. That's it. That is the whole choice right there.
And this gets to the real purpose of these accounts. They're not for gambling, they're not for trying to get rich quick, they're defensive tools. They give you control over how much of your own hard-earned money you actually get to keep over that long, long journey from your earning years to your spending years.
So knowing all this, how do we put together a plan that's actually strong? Well, the answer isn't to pick one winner. It's to build a system that can handle whatever comes its way.
A really resilient strategy most of the time uses both. You contribute to your 401k at least enough to get that full employer match. I mean, that's just free money.
Then you can use a Roth IRA to build a completely separate pile of tax-free money for the future. So now you have 2 storage rooms. And more importantly, you have 2 different tax timelines, which gives you incredible flexibility when winter finally arrives.
And hey, if this way of explaining things helped clear some of the fog for you, doing a simple like or subscribe actually helps other people find their way and start preparing their own winter hoards with a little more confidence.
But that leaves us with one last, really important question to chew on. Having different storage rooms is great, but what about what's inside of them? What happens if you save for 40 years and your whole stash is just made up of one single thing? We'll dig into that next time.
So just remember, the goal isn't to perfectly guess what the future is going to look like. It's just to acknowledge that, yep, it's coming. And the calmest, most secure people are the ones who prepare quietly long before it ever felt urgent.